Hey everybody, it's Critical Fish here. Today I'm making a video on my Steelbook collection, specifically for PlayStation games. I've been collecting Steelbooks for a little bit now, mostly through pre-orders, but I have bought a couple Steelbooks that I didn't know about at the time of release, so I went back and bought a few. But here's the stack, and I'm going to go over every single one that I have right now and showcase it with the game. Let's go. Here's a quick tip. If you love binge watching these types of videos, I have a lot of PlayStation and Nintendo games that I own. So do yourself a favor, subscribe to the channel, like the video, and check out my videos. Here's the first one. We've got Resident Evil 2, one of my favorite games of all time. I went back and bought this Steelbook because it was pretty rare as of this year, and I just had to own it. I think it looks really sleek with the matte black finish. And it just kind of represents a time in my life where I was playing Resident Evil 2 for the first time during COVID, and it was really something to look forward to play at the end of the day. So just thought this looked really clean with the Umbrella logo on the back, the zombie on the front. And then, of course, in the inside, you've got Raccoon City, the most infamous place in Resident Evil. And this game really makes me wish that they remake Resident Evil 1 in this type of style because I love this game a ton. Next on the stack, we've got an awesome one, Final Fantasy VII Remake. Got a Steelbook with the deluxe edition of the game. And it foreshadows some crazy moments within the full story of Final Fantasy VII. I won't say what, but Sephiroth is clearly on the front. He's even got a gloss finish. So does the logo on the back. But the front of the Steelbook is great. Then here we've got the inside of the Steelbook, which is just the classic shot of Cloud with the Buster Sword going into Mako Reactor 1. And then again, another shot of the front. Sephiroth is menacing on this one, and if you didn't already know, this is my favorite game of all time, so I highly recommend you pick it up. After I had beaten the remake, I was really excited for the DLC to come out, which is called Intergrade or Intermission. And this DLC got its own Steelbook that was exclusive to GameStop. And I made sure that I had secured one of these because it's really nice looking. A matte finish on the front with glossy characters, and just the difference in color on the front is insane. Then on the inside of the Steelbook, we've got all the main cast of FF7 staring off into the distance from Midgar, kind of foreshadowing that all the characters are going to continue their journey in the next game. And here we've got a white Steelbook that was European exclusive. As you can see, it was made by Capcom, so it is Resident Evil. Specifically, Resident Evil 7 Biohazard. And the front cover of this is really weird looking. It has a weird texture on the front that you'll see in just a second. But it's a very clean white case that only came in the collector's edition of the game. I believe on its own this is around $40 or $50 now, but I thought this was worth a buy because Resident Evil 7 is a amazing first-person survival horror game that brought me into the franchise. It wasn't the first Resident Evil game I played, but it was definitely the scariest one, and the Baker Mansion, Baker House is horrifying. And it contrasts with the physical case pretty well. Next on the stack is another European exclusive Steelbook that I bought off eBay. It is Horizon Zero Dawn. And this Steelbook is really well designed. It's, very clean with the pearl white / gray color that makes up the majority of it. But then it also has, hints of blue in there. And then, of course, Aloy with the ginger hair. But the design is very clean. I was a huge fan of the first game, and it was one of the first-party PlayStation games that I had played. And I think the best part about the Steelbook is that it has a focus on the weapons that Aloy uses, as well as the monsters that you fight as Aloy. Here we go. 3 for 3 European exclusive Steelbooks. This is a weird one because it's not exclusively tied to a game, but as you can see, it is a PlayStation 1. From what I know, this Steelbook was exclusively purchased with a PS Plus subscription that you could buy for $60, I think. So if you got the subscription, you would get a card within this Steelbook for a year of PlayStation Plus. So pretty cool tie-in. I definitely would have bought this if it came to America, but it did not. The buttons are indented a little bit and have a little bit of gloss on them, so just adds to the attention to detail. And then on the inside, you've got the PS4 home screen, pretty iconic, and brings you back to the PS4 era. And here's another Steelbook that is unbelievable in my opinion. The mix of detail and gloss with all the different characters on it makes it really, really collectible in my opinion. This is for Doom Eternal, one of the best first-person shooter action games that I've ever played. I would probably say it's my favorite FPS, right next to Titanfall 2. And as you can see, Doom is all about just fighting demons and ripping them apart in this hellscape of a world. But the art style is pretty unique, and especially Eternal has a lot of variety in the art style. On the inside here, we've just got more of the Doom Slayer and all the different monsters that he fights. A lot of attention to detail on the different enemies and their weapons and their textures on their bodies. It's very cool, and at one point I had 2 of these because it was so cheap, but I think I traded it into my game store. This is a pretty recently purchased one. We've got Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII Reunion, which was the remaster of the PSP game and a prequel to Final Fantasy VII. So here we've got Zack Fair on the front cover with the Buster Sword. It's the same one that Cloud uses, so there's definitely some backstory here. But this was a Best Buy exclusive from what I can tell, and it's really shiny in person. It reminds me of the Mandalorian armor from the Star Wars show. I have not taken off the seal, but as you can see, it pairs really well with the physical copy of the game. And I'm a collector, so when I saw a second one at Best Buy, I had to buy another one because it's one of the coolest Steelbooks I own. And here we go. This looks like the back of a torn up book, pretty weathered, but as you can see, it's for Resident Evil Village. And this is one of my favorite PS5 survival horror games. I did get the 100% platinum trophy for this game, which requires you to play it 3 times. I recommend this game to anybody, honestly. It can get you into the survival horror genre pretty easily, and the attention to detail on the front and the art style should just pull you right in. But the design of the Steelbook is really appealing and fits the theme of the game extremely well, so definitely get it. This Steelbook is a pretty big throwback for me and all the Destiny fans out there. I was introduced to Destiny when I first bought a PS4, and I played the Taken King almost for 2 years straight. Destiny was a massive time sink in my childhood during middle school and high school, and this Steelbook kind of just represents how cool of a universe Destiny is. I've fallen off over the past couple years of Destiny. I really don't think about it anymore or play it anymore, but when it was in its prime with Taken King and Rise of Iron, it was a great, great game to play with friends. I ended up finding this at my local game store, and I bought this for around $10, I think. Here on the inside, we've just got the design of the in-game map, I believe, and a little taken flare at the bottom of it. And it just kind of represents how cool of a franchise Destiny was back in the day. But these cases and the Steelbook remind me of how cool it was. Here we've got a more recent pickup. As you can tell, that's Ghost from Modern Warfare 2, the revised version of a classic IP from Call of Duty. And I've been playing this game a ton, especially with college friends and my hometown friends. I was a massive fan of Modern Warfare 2019, so getting this for free at GameStop when I was going to pick up the game was no question. And I'm glad they had extra copies because the marketing of this game with the green and Ghost looks pretty great. We're getting down to just 3 more, and here's the third one from Steelbook.com. This was part of the deluxe or collector's edition of Uncharted 4. One of my favorite single-player games of all time, definitely my favorite Naughty Dog game to date, and this Steelbook does the game justice really well. It's a matte black finish with hints of purple and pink on the back. It's got Uncharted 4 logo on the side, and then the front is just full of all the different characters that the game has and all the different villains and heroes. So I love this design. The cartoon style with the thick black lines looks great. The inside of the Steelbook is not nearly as impressive, but it's a map of the different areas in the game that you visit. And then you've got Nathan Drake on both front and center. Definitely a great pick. Here's our second to last one. This one is chrome, gray, and gold. Very shiny Steelbook. And the front cover showcases Godfrey and his lion. I think it's Sarosh or Sarosh. This is one of the harder bosses in the game. And it's a pretty good representation of what kind of enemies you'll fight in Elden Ring. They're very legendary, heroic characters that have been, at least in the lore, respected for a long time. And this is definitely a good cover for the Steelbook. Here inside, we've got the regular Elden Ring case art that appears on the physical copy of the game. And I got this for free when I pre-ordered the game at Best Buy. So definitely worth grabbing. My original copy was completely smashed though. And then the final physical Steelbook that I have as of January 2023 is for Horizon Forbidden West. And this came with the Regala version of the game, the deluxe edition of the game, and the collector's version of the game. So they wanted everybody to have this, and it's not a super unique Steelbook, but I really like the color on it. You know, you've got that tealish blue, and then you've got the red hair and the red sand, and it's just a really good contrast and kind of represents what you're going to be doing in Forbidden West, which is fighting the monsters in a post-apocalyptic world. And then on the inside here, we've got the different characters that you meet. You've got the Golden Gate Bridge and Aloy, and it matches the case pretty well. That was the final Steelbook I have, but we're not done here. Here's a full pan out shot of the full collection that I have as of January 2023. And I don't know how many more Steelbooks I will get, but they are definitely not a priority for my collecting purposes, but I love them, and I pick out the specific ones that I love, so I'll probably buy a couple more down the line. But what do you think? Which ones do you have? Which ones should I buy? Let me know in the comments, please. And just a reminder to check out my other videos. I'm a big fan of video games, so do yourself a favor if you love them too, and subscribe.